Hello world! Welcome to Decode or Not to Code. I'm Eva. I'm really happy to be here today. It's snowing in Vienna, which means the festive season is finally upon us. And that also means it's time that we finish our AdventQRlendar. If you're new or if it's your first time tuning in, I'm super new to coding. Stefan, though, has a lot more experience. So together we're building an advent calendar full of QR codes. And it's super DIY-y, so you can kind of customize it and have your QR codes lead to whatever you like, whether it's, funny videos or memes or articles or streaming sessions or Christmas songs, whatever you like. It's super customizable and DIY-y, and it's going to be so much fun. Are you ready to do this, Stefan?
Yes. Let's go to our solution.
Yes.
And let's have a look at where we ended last time. So let's start debugging. Let's bring it to full screen. And so what we still have is the default look and feel that we got inherited from the template, from the Blazor template of .NET. We have created the two grids that represent. We so far called it the front page and the front end and the back end of the QR calendar that we then glue to each other, where the front should have the doors and the back should have the QR codes.
Yeah.
And an editing table where we can actually set the QR codes to certain links. For now, we don't have any validation, so we could enter anything, which makes it convenient for testing. So if we go ahead, enter some QR code or some text here that then gets QR codified, we will now see what we achieved last time. Last time we took care of persistence. So if we jump to the other page and then go back to the QR code page, we see that the numbers we have entered are still there. Mm-hmm. What we couldn't solve last time, but will now solve as the first task for today, is that the QR codes actually get rendered then as well. And we also talk about persistence. If we switch between, in the calendar page, if we switch, we will see it's always 12 is the first, 6 is the last. And if we go back and forth, again, 12 is first and 6 is last. However, if I reload the page, I hit F5. So I don't do navigation, but an actual reload of the application. We see it's now 15 and 8. So it's changed the initial shuffle, our initial random order. But if we jump back and forth, the order remains the same. And in today's session, we would like to, on the first, so when we navigate to the QR codes, these should be re-rendered, and then bring those QR codes also into the back end of the calendar. And perhaps also we have time to create a shuffle button that we also mentioned last time.
Yes, shuffle button.
To reorder these without forcing a reload, which forces then the user to enter those QR codes again. If I hit F5, the state is gone. We need to enter those QR codes again.
Nice. So quite a lot planned for today. Let's.
No,
it's quite ambitious. I love it. I think, but I'm confident. I think we can do it. What do our viewers think? Yes, let's get into it.
So we last time have we have a service, the QRlendar service. Oops, let me zoom in and let me make more space here. Basically, in this QR calendar service that we initialize only once, we create the doors initially, which are ordered from 1 to 24. Mm-hmm. And then we have an indices a collection, which is only an int collection, which holds 24 elements. and overall the numbers from 1 to 24, but shuffled, which basically is our randomization. And we thought about the difference between indexes and indices, and I also later on had a chat with a friend of mine, and indices in this term is really the correct thing. Indexes is also English correct, but it's used in a different term. I think that's more indexes is more in database world, and indices is more in the array world.
Oh, interesting.
If I recall correctly.
Okay. That's really nice.
And now
we also try and get little English lessons into our stream as well.
And and perhaps learn to make less typos and such.
Oh, that is something. Typos, I don't think that's something you can learn. Well, I can't at least. Maybe you can. So there's always a session where, like a bit where I do a little bit of coding, and that's where you'll see all the typos that you can imagine. It's going to be good fun.
Well, I'm not doing .NET for roughly 10 years, and there is still typos, so I'm afraid. I'm not sure if this is a
There's
bad
no way
omen.
around it.
Especially with live coding. It seems that live coding attracts typos.
Yeah, it really does.
And so about the rendering. So what we have is a QR code item, which represents a single row in the grid. Actually, let's bring this up again and try to go into a bit of a split view. Yes. So if we jump to the QR codes overview and here to the solution, let's do it like this. Yes. So one QR code item represents one element in this collection, in this grid, in this table. And we also have a code behind here, which is always the naming convention is have the same name as the component, and then the file ending is different. So we have a .cs for the code behind, which is only C# code, and we have a .js for a JavaScript that is associated to that component. And what we did in the last or in previous sessions is to use that JavaScript to call whenever we change the text to get a hold of this text, create a QR code, put this into a stream, and then here we invoke the JavaScript in order to render it to the HTML. And we last time had a look, so we didn't get this quite right. So we now before the stream again had a look at the lifetime of a Blazor component. And what we now found out that we want to put it into the on after render async, but only on the very first render. So to render those which have already been set, and all the other ones that the user then types in later on are then set via this callback that we have on the text element. So I guess the move is to put this into a separate method. So I'll create a private static, no, not static, it needs access to members void. I think it's async, so that's task returning set QR code. Actually, I think QR capitalization should be as such.
Mm-hmm.
So this is an async method, and we get in a string of text, basically this text. And the callback basically now just invokes that method by getting a hold of the string text and putting that in. So we also want to await that because that's async. And this should be it. So let's test if this is still working after refactoring. QR codes. Yes. And now we need to call this method for those which have been set already. So we get a door. This door is injected by, if you have a look at the parent page, which is the QR codes page, we can see that this is just a for each of all the doors that we have and injecting the door into the door parameter of this component. So this door here is exactly that door. We mark it with a parameter so we can actually inject it. And so let's check if the door has the URL that it's set. However, if it's not set yet, perhaps we should do a check if it actually has already been set. So we can do string, for example, is null. There's an is null or empty method, which checks if the string is null, it returns true, or if the string is empty, it also returns true. So this would be if string A is null, or if string B would be an empty string.
Mm-hmm.
And there is also a second method. If this string would only consist of white spaces and nothing else, then we could use is null or white space. And now we put this into an if method. And if this is not the case, so if door.url is neither null nor consists of any white spaces, now it's time to also invoke the setQRcode method that we have with the door.url. And since this is async, it's good practice to, since this method is task returning, it's good practice to suffix it with async. So we have set QR code async, which now indicates me that I can await this, and perhaps I even should await this in this async method. And let's have a look at if this if this works. So I'm going to the QR code page, typing some text, going back and forth.
Ooh. Yay!
And it's there.
It's there. Nice. It works.
However, what we do see is a bit of a jump. So we see it first gets rendered, and then these get rendered, and we see a little jump in here. So at first it's like one empty and then the 1, 2, 3, and half a second afterwards now the QR code jumps in. And perhaps we could fix, under air quotes, this optical jump, but maybe let's come to that when we go more into the styling and CSS phase of our project, and where we can then beautify all visual flaws, perhaps.
Yeah, I think I totally agree. I think for now it would be more important, I guess, to put the QR codes actually in our grid, in our calendar. So because obviously this is just like a visual sort of representation of what it might look like. It's sort of like a preview, but I can't wait to finally get it into the grid where it's supposed to be and where it's going to be printed out and beautiful behind each door.
Okay, so let's do that. So this is actually very similar, that bringing the QR codes into here, but I will let's walk through this flow again. Perhaps you have missed this from last time.
Yes, or you're like me and you need to hear everything twice in order to even grasp it at all.
Me actually too. I also needed to look it up in order to. Okay, what did we do like 3 weeks ago? Totally gone.
Yeah. Oh.
So one step is so we need to stream this image data to the HTML, and for that we can use this script here. But we don't want to embed this JavaScript into our HTML or into our Blazor. We actually want to have this as an isolated attachment to this component. So this is what's called co-located JavaScript. And the naming convention is for Blazor to have the Razor file and suffix it with .gs. So let's do that. Let's jump to Visual Studio. I'll terminate the debugging session, go to the Solution Explorer. Let's go find the page. That's the QRlendar page. And let's create a new JavaScript file which has the same name as the page. So a page in Blazor is also a component, but not necessarily every component has to be a page. And let's find JavaScript file, and let's call it just as the parent page, which is a component, .js. So this is now co-located to the, perhaps let's visualize this by bringing them next to each other. Co-located to the, come on, yes, to the QRlendar page. So it's a component, and what we see, it says page. So this makes it navigatable in the web application. And we have here our two grids, and for the second grid we need the new JavaScript. And I will put in now the JavaScript that we had from before into here. But I guess this needs to be changed a little bit, because let me find that we actually need to, yeah, we need that. So we export a function that gets parameters. So instead of writing the script tag here, I'll exporting a new function and closing it down here. Perhaps let's bring this to full screen mode. And we have, so we don't have this Windows set image anymore. So this is an async function. So we export an async function, and we have the image element ID and the image stream as parameters. So let's format it like so, all right. And we now need a, yeah, we here have the image ID. But we actually had this last time also. We don't really want to use this ID, but we want to use an actual element reference to this. I think we now need another component actually. While talking, we realizing that so this is our current, this is our grid. This is our two tables. We have here the front end.
Yeah.
And here the backend, which is currently the same, and just create a table data here. I guess we need a custom component here. How should we call that component? Is that a QR code? How would you call the QR code which hides behind the door? Or how would you call the component which hides behind one door?
I mean, I think I would just call the QR code, but we've named quite a lot of things QR code. So QR codes.
Naming is hard.
It is hard. Oh gosh. Or like maybe, that's like the. So what hides behind the door? Is it like a surprise? No.
The surprise.
The QR code surprise. The presents? No.
Present?
Really
like it's okay. Should we call it like back end? Nah, it sounds weird. QR code door, QR code box.
QR code box, I think is good.
QR code box?
Yeah, because I feel like the QR code door would be the actual door on the front. But the QR code box, that sounds like something is in it, and that's obviously what it's going to be. So yeah, I like that. Well done.
So let's now create this QR code box component, going into Solution Explorer, creating a new component, add new item, razor component, which is now QR code box.razor. And I'm putting this down here, which now becomes the table data. And we want to inject the store as a parameter. So let's create a property. If please wait for the editor to finish the command. Yes. No response from Visual Studio. That's hopefully
Fabulous.
cancelable. Uh-oh.
What did you do?
Try to invoke code completion on the inlined code part of the file. So perhaps I should have moved this to a dedicated code behind. Uh-oh, I guess I need to... Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Is it time to invoke the task manager? Ooh.
But I can...
Uh-oh.
Oh. No, I can't. Nice. And since we have like English lessons, let's have a little German lesson, because on the top left corner, no, you can't see it anymore. It's gone. Keine Rückmeldung means no response. So there's your German 2 words of the day. This is education and an educational stream.
Since this worked so good, I'll immediately create a code behind file. So let's create a new C# file.
So how did you resolve this now? Did you just...
I crashed. I forcibly...
You crashed.
I forcibly terminated Visual Studio and started it again.
Oh, really? That was super fast.
Yeah.
There you go.
And QR code.razor.cs shall be our code behind. Let's move this to a file scope namespace. Okay. We need to make this partial.
Okay.
So that this is extensible. Let's get rid of this element here, and now let's create our property. Yes, now the auto-completion works.
Easy.
I haven't written a property manually in ages. I always use snippets and code completion and everything. So again, we have our parameter, and we also want to set the editor required attribute so that we get a warning if we don't set it. And this should be our door, which we could call, oops, door. All right, and now again we want to go into the, I don't get the completion yet. I think I had this issue I had a similar issue last time, so this doesn't really get, the code behind doesn't really realize that it should be, but in the meantime, let me move this razor file that we just wrote, this JavaScript file that we just wrote, actually to the component. So let's move that over here. Yes, please. And let's give it the proper name. Okay. And so let's bring the page here. Here is our, yeah, now we see the highlighting here. So there's a QR code box. I will put in the door here. And we want to, okay, what's the next move now? Hope that this thing works. Can I override? Yes, now it works. After render is sync, and in case of the first render, we don't need to get a hold of this JavaScript. So let's jump to the documentation. It's this method, or this invocation. We require a module So what's... Oh, no, we first need the JS element. Does the documentation tell me how to inject that? I guess not on this page, perhaps on a different page. I'll go steal that from our element here. So that's this part. We inject the JavaScript runtime. And we need to make this async. Okay, a bit of plumbing. And we want to import that component, which we have in the components folder, which is called QR code box.razor.js.
Nice.
Now we have the module, and now we want to render it. So we also need a QR code element. If we go to the page, there is, in this way, we can, with the ref, we can declare an element reference that we can then pass in to the JavaScript runtime via the invocation here and pass it in here as a parameter. So we need an @ref. This table, let's do an @ref. Oops. @ref element. I guess, do I need to say @element?
Oh, we had that issue.
Let's see in the example. No, it's not.
No, but no,
in here.
no thingies. What are they called? Anführungszeichen in German.
They are, that's right. The quotes, no quotes.
Yes, quotes.
So we have, I actually called it, QR code element. Let's also call it QR code element. Okay, and now we should be able to, I guess, again, do the null check if we actually have something to render. So if the string dot is null, or if it is not null or whitespace, the door.url, then it's time to render that. And for that, the last code I want to bring in from the documentation, it's in here, how to set the image. We get an image stream async. So we first need a stream. Convert this into a .NET stream reference, and then can invoke our method. How did we call our method in the JavaScript? Let's put it down there. Show prompt, I guess. Let's call it set QR code. Let's invoke set QR code. Pass in, the first one is the image element. Or just image in this case. So we no longer need this JavaScript, because what this example does is getting it by ID. But we don't want to get it by ID. We want to inject it directly. So we can't just get rid of this code. So we actually pass it in and then set the image stream. I guess this should be good. And we actually now pass in our QR code element in here. Now we just need the stream. So we also need, now we need to create the QR code. So let's inject yet another service. Inject another, we already registered that via the I think that's the QR code generator. And the QR code generator has a method create QR code. That looks promising.
Nice.
Let's put in the URL. Does it take? It also takes a. Oops. Oh no, that's a different. That's a different one. That's not ours. Let's have a look at our services. We have the QR code service. Okay.
Okay.
QR code service. That's ours. And on that we have a method get QR code.
Nice.
And that method takes an URL and the pixels per module. So I'm not sure about the size. We need to experiment with that. I'll set it to 5 for now. So we get our QR code as a byte array, and now we need to turn this byte array into a stream. And I totally forgot how we did this last time. So I go have a peek. We have just created a new memory stream. And okay, and we also need to take care of the usings because they are all disposable.
Ah, nice.
So let's put in here the memory stream. Also do a using around that. And this could work, but let's have a look.
Let's have a look.
Uh-oh.
No! What happened?
The door doesn't exist in the current context.
Okay.
Yes, because we don't have any body anymore here. I copied this over. We only have an element here that we set.
Oh, yeah.
Via the, yeah. So let's enter a QR code here and let's go back here and we have an error.
Oh, we lost the whole grid. Oh, no.
Because could not find set QR code. Set QR code was undefined. Okay.
Okay.
So it cannot find this JavaScript method. I guess I'm doing something wrong during the exporting. Yes, I'm actually, from the code example, it's invoking on the JS runtime, but we don't do that. So we actually grab this module from the co-located JavaScript. So we need to invoke it via the module.
Yes.
So we can say module.invoke void async. Let's see if that actually matches the declaration of this JavaScript function. So this is it doesn't return anything. It's void. It's async. So we invoke async void, have the correct name, pass in the image stream, and pass in the element, the DOM tree element and the stream. So let's give it a try now.
It's always the
QR codes. Let's enter a couple of here. Jump in here, and we see nothing.
fabulous.
Let's have a look what's going on.
As long as we get a different error message, it's a success.
We don't get... we have some load. Connection refused. I don't think we caused an error here, but it's just not visible.
An unhandled error has occurred. Nice. Ooh.
So there is our table is there.
But it's the wrong with the... Oh!
It has
no,
all the
you're in
rows.
That's cool.
Is it just too small?
That would be... Yeah, because it's 5 pixels.
It's like super, super small.
Potentially. No. Okay.
I think I guess I did something wrong with styling. I'll jump back to, because in the previous, in our page, in our QRlendar page, we actually do have some CSS for the, there is some CSS for each box. And let's get a hold of this CSS as well. And let's put this to our component as well. So let's create a CSS style sheet. Yes. Call that also QR code box.razor.css. Paste that in. I'll get rid of the commented code. And I'm checking if this is actually, so class is box. So perhaps this shows it. Let's enter something here. And we still see nothing. So let's go to the our table is here,
Yeah.
and it has 4 boxes per row, but those boxes are quite empty. Doesn't perhaps the time for some debugging? This one doesn't really get invoked or something. Let's have a look if we jump back and forth. We do hit the first render. Let's move the breakpoint. Let's jump to here. We do get a module. Ooh, we never get here. Perhaps we do have a crash down there somewhere. Okay. Unless I jumped over it. No, we actually do get in here. So we have our 1, 2, 3. Oops, it's barely visible.
Yeah.
Oops. Come on. Okay. But we do have our 1, 2, 3 URL here. We get ourselves a byte array, create an image stream, create this other stream, and pass that one in. And would hope that this works. Yeah, it's also finishing. So that actually looks promising, but something is off. I'm not sure. I'll go cheating how we did last time. So we have the let's compare code.
Nice.
So we have both of our JavaScripts. They should look quite similar actually. Yes, they do. Well, we may want to consolidate them later on, but because they're really the same, just different names. So this should be all right. Let's have a look at the invocation side. On the first render, we import components JavaScript, and we do the same as well. We import the JavaScript, and then we set the QR code via that, which is also very much the same. Yeah. So I'm quite out of ideas. Is it about styling, sizing of the element? So we have our table data. Ooh, maybe. Yes, this needs to be an image. Haha, my bad. So in this table data, we need to have an image, img, which has this
OMG,
reference.
we need an IMG.
And this could resolve it if I get rid of the compiler errors. Unexpected closing tag image. Can I do it like this? Guess it should be like this. Yes. Woohoo!
Woo!
Does this make sense? Yes, because it's shuffled. I guess, well, the size isn't quite right.
It looks nice. I like it. It's like snowflakes falling. Woo.
Now it's time to do some style, just some rudimentary style, and then because then we on the more heavier styling we do in a future session. Just to get the basics somewhat right, we want to. I was wondering, why do we have that? Why do we lose the grid actually? So in the parent QRlendar page, we create a table row for every element, and we just now create this table data for each. Perhaps let's format it like this, then it gets a little bit more obvious.
Yeah.
And this thing is a box, and it should kind of... I guess perhaps it's because of the size that we chose in the... pixel per module thing. Maybe we do... I'm not... Let's try that. I guess since this is not a CSS change, we actually need to... What if we jump like this? Does this change it? Okay, yes, it does.
Ooh, nice.
But it still seems...
But it's still not in the grid, yeah.
Why is the grid gone? Is it because of the image that we have nested? I'm not sure. So what does it look like if we have a lot of QR codes? I'll just... put in everything.
Yeah.
That's tedious. Okay.
Done.
Oh no. Oh yes.
Woo!
Ooh, okay. Well,
That looks cool though. That looks pretty cool. I actually, yeah, no, that looks cool because it also gives you the spaces for the glue for later on.
ooh, that's right.
So I would almost go, why isn't the first grid that same size? That would be better.
Okay. So this is actually our... So this shall be our target site, our target size, and we now optimize this to be the same.
I don't know. What do you
correctly?
think? Yeah,
Well,
that was what
reasonable.
Yeah.
Because actually, if we do print this as a page, as a site, is that a page? As a like paper?
Yeah.
That's actually that's right, because we talked about how do we assemble then this. We need some space for gluing and thing, and there is all the space for the gluing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks cool actually. So it's a feature by accident. Cool. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
I guess now for the last step that we want to do today, what we saw earlier, we perhaps want to have a shuffle button or something to reorder these without needing to refresh the entire page, which now I lost all the QR codes that I entered. So do you still have the code share link, or did this break because I terminated Visual Studio, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think you have to send me a new link.
Let's create a new live share session. And oh yeah.
Woo.
And while that, I shall navigate to the component in question, which is the page of the QRlendar. And here we perhaps want to introduce a button, which then gets reshuffles the elements via the... So let's open the code behind. Oh, that's quite empty. We do have the calendar service already, which has all the doors. I guess we need a new functionality on that.
Almost there.
While at that, let's have a look at some documentation. We have the ASP.NET Core Blazor event handling, and there's actually an example of how to do a button. So we can define a button, and with the add-on click, we can define a callback, which gets invoked on click then in our code behind. And that could then call into our QRlendar service, which reorders these indices that we had a look at in the beginning.
Okay, so that looks pretty straightforward, and we do want it like right next to the AdventQRlendar heading, right? How can we? Do we need a paragraph for that?
Let's give it a try. Let's just put it in there and see how this ends up. I'm
Okay.
opening this side by side so that we see it live, what's happening.
Okay. So if I just literally just put in like a button. Oh no, Batoto. This is exactly what I mean, and I can't delete it now because it's loading, and that's terrible. So now it's like this forever. This is what it's gonna look. Oh dear. Okay. Yes, I'm back. No, I'm not back. Yes. Fabulous. I think. Am I? Can you delete it?
Sure. Perhaps I'll button.
No, that's my job.
Okay. Sorry, I'll delete it.
This is exactly the section where I sort of destroy everything, and that's totally fine. So it's button, and then I close it like with the slash, right? Is that right?
Yes. If we don't want to have actually,
and then
not sure. Let me jump to the documentation again. I haven't built an HTML button. Oh no, we actually do need a body. We actually do need a body for the button in order to give it some text. I can imagine there's a different way of giving a text, but let's use that.
Just gonna call it shuffle, like this.
Sounds great. I think it really has to be in the body of this HTML element. So we need to, just as we open and close the H3 element left to it, we need to open and close the deleting doesn't work?
No.
Okay, then I'll delete for you.
Thank you.
That's interesting. So it's quite committing.
Okay.
The correct English term.
So okay, but I think wait. So we have to kind of close it, I guess, here, like this, and then we open it again. Is that it? No, that's not it.
Yeah, and then the slash. So we open it with a lower than slash, and then type the name of the element again.
Yeah, I just wanted to delete the space, but it didn't work. So.
Oh, okay. I'll delete it.
Fabulous. Okay, and now we can call it shuffle.
If I saved it, there it is. Woo! There's the shuffle button.
But it's not very pretty.
Would you mind putting it into a new line so that we have it in the code a little bit more? So you can't delete, right?
Well, I don't really have to delete, but it doesn't really work, no.
Then I'll hit return. If you don't mind. All right, because now it's a little bit more visible. Yeah.
Fabulous.
Okay. And now we need this the on-click callback.
Okay, so that's kind of like an @ right?
But it's part. It's not in the body. It's part
there
of
is
the
an
button
L
element.
I need a C. Can you delete the L, please? Thank you. On click. Is that it?
It needs to go into the button element. So
oh no,
it's
all
not
wrong.
Part of the body.
Okay, so you can delete everything, and then.
Oops! Not everything. Oops. Yes.
Fabulous. This is so much fun. On-click is, and what is it?
A name of a method that we invoke. What do we do? On shuffle.
On shuffle, like this. Yes.
And now we can jump to the code behind. I'll stop debugging for now. Now we can jump into the code behind and create this equivalent method there.
Yes.
Which I think, I'm not sure about the accessibility. So this is just a private void method with the same name.
Okay, I hope I'm in the right file.
Yes, you are.
Am I? Yes, fabulous, amazing. Yes, you can see me. That's fabulous. So I inject another method. Is that what we're doing? Or yeah. Because we spoke the last time because I thought I could just like write it underneath because it says inject here.
Sorry, I misunderstood you. Yeah, no, nothing to inject. We
I can
just
delete.
write. Ooh. Okay, so deleting doesn't work in the Razor file, but it does in the CS file. Okay. Or some other issue that you're facing, but just a good old method.
Public, probably, right? Public, private.
It can be private.
It can be private.
So that
Private.
other component, nobody else sees it. It's like only needed in this component. It doesn't return anything, so it can be void because it's just a callback. And now it should have the same name as we declared in the onClick event.
On shuffle.
I think there's an option to also pass some parameters to this method, but currently we don't need any.
Okay. So we don't okay, so we just leave it empty.
Yeah.
And then curly, like this?
Yes. And now we could redirect this call because now we need to access some internals of the QRlendar service, but we don't have access to the internals. So we need to invoke a method on the QRlendar service. So we could actually do that here and try to call a method which doesn't exist yet that we implement then immediately afterwards on the QRlendar service that we have injected already.
Okay. And what is that method?
We could call it shuffle.
Shuffle? So is it capital S? No.
Yes, but we will invoke it on the instance of the QRlendar service.
On the instance of the QRlendar service. So that means QRlendar service.shuffle, probably.
Exactly.
Right? Oh no, QRlendar service.shuffle.
And sorry for interrupting, but your salty devil gives us a rave. Hello, thanks for tuning in.
Thank you for tuning in. We're just at the best part where I destroy everything that we just built for the last hour. But it's actually, no, I'm doing well. I wrote my own method. Yes. What did I build? I built a button, and now we're sort of working on the code behind and making this button amazing.
Actually, yeah, so we have here so when the user clicks the button, we invoke that method, and now we invoke a method on the QRlendar code service. So let's now jump to the QRlendar service. Let's save that. And let's build, so we get some error here. This method doesn't exist yet. So let's build that in the QRlendar service. I guess let's add it to the very bottom of the type.
So yeah.
Sorry, this is still the get grid method.
Oh.
So it needs to be in line, start at line after 47.
Oh my god, I can't see the lines on my end. Yes, after line 47, I can. This is
so that's when the get grid is closing.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry, what did I do? Yes. Yeah.
Fabulous. And okay, that is this then public or is it private?
Yes. Well, this has to be either public or internal. But we can make it public. Nobody else is consuming this library, so we can't make it private because then the component wouldn't have access to it. If we make it internal, then every code within the same assembly has access to it, which in our case, we only have one single assembly. So basically, it's for us, public and internal is quite, is somewhat comparable, yeah. Public means even code outside of the assembly. So if we would put this into a reusable assembly that some other project would be consuming, they only have access to public members per default. So public is fine. Long
Okay,
story short.
fabulous. And wait, so it's called shuffle.
Yes.
We need this. Do we need
And we
anything else
also need to
before?
declare a return type,
Yeah,
since we won't return anything.
but what? Oh, we won't return anything.
We won't return anything, then we have to write void.
Amazing.
That's right.
Easy. Easy, easy. Yay. Okay, but what does this method do?
Since we have, so if I scroll up a little in the constructor, we do something very similar. We have here, so what did you find last time is we have the doors, which are ordered from 1 to 24. And then we have indices, which is basically a 24 length size array that now has the numbers 1 to 24 in a shuffled order. So basically this defines on the order of how to access the doors array. So we need to basically recreate that one.
Fabulous.
Or shuffle it again, but we
copy
can
paste.
recreate it, yeah. That's, well, first get it working, and then that's fair. I wouldn't have done. I would do the very same. We can refactor later on. First get it working, then refactor. But we do have an error. It says a read-only field cannot be assigned to. So the thing is, we declared this indices array as read-only, which means we can only set it during construction. So we can set it in a constructor, but we cannot set it in any other method, which may be called after it has been constructed, because now it's not read-only anymore. We're actually modifying it. So yeah.
Let's just not have it read on.
That's right.
Yay! Perfect.
And I guess this is all right to do, because we declared this indices as private. So we won't, nobody who is consuming, so this is a bit from a data accessibility and information hiding point of view, we only expose like the doors array. We have a method to get the grids. We have a method to shuffle, but we do not expose the underlying array. So we can make sure that the structure of these private fields are always in a state that we expect. Nobody else can mess with them. So it's fine to remove the read-only here, because it's still under our control.
Nice.
And yeah, I guess let's give that a try. I'll put a breakpoint in here, and let's see if this is actually being invoked. Let's jump into a split screen. Let's go to QRlendar and let's hit the shuffle button. And we actually get in there. That's great.
Cool.
I'll have a look at the debugging. So we currently start with 15 and end with 21. And if I step over this code, we now have 12 as a beginning and 11 as the end. So we did actually change it. And if we run through it, however, the grid, it changes already.
Yay! Wow.
So
I feel so accomplished
here you
now.
go. I actually wasn't sure. I actually thought we need to force a re-render, but I'm not sure if what's actually going on that it's re-rendering already. So that's really great. We can shuffle.
Nice.
That's really cool.
Well, that's actually also great timing, because we're actually at the...
Wow, we are exactly on time. It's 11 UTC. Wow. We never got that. Of a, what's the word? Punktlandung in German. What's the English?
Ooh.
Right on time?
Right on time, I guess. Yes. No, that was nice.
Cool.
So what are we going to look at next time? And when are we going to have a next time?
Do we now have all the code that we want from a functionality point of view ready? So is the only the air quotes the only parts left to make it look good and printable and everything?
I guess so.
Okay, cool. Then I guess the next move is to bringing in a couple of QR codes. Actually, do they shuffle as well if we hit the shuffle button?
No.
Why do they not shuffle?
Well, are we calling the shuffle function on both tables? Both grids and tables?
I guess this is
They're
a
not tables.
grid thing.
Well, they are tables.
Let's have a look at the Razor file. So, well, we do get a grid here. So how does why does this grid get recalled but not the other one?
Well, potentially it's because we sort of deleted the grid somehow, didn't we? So maybe the grid, because we also lost the numbers. Oh no, we did lose the numbers because we didn't want them anymore. But
yeah,
maybe that's something to debug next time as well.
Okay, but yes, so. What we said already. So the next move, I guess, is to make both grids, make the front end grid and the back end grid match each other, so that they can actually be printed and glued on top of each other, and perhaps do a little bit with margins, because this is not really cuttable, because if we cut here and cut here. Now we have a hole. This doesn't really look at AdventQRlendar. So I guess what we need to do, if I draw here a smaller version of the calendar, like a smaller version, we need, and this is not good. Let's assume we have a 2x2 calendar. We need some, I always forget the correct name, but we need some, is it margin or padding? I always forget that.
I think it's margin, what you just showed.
It's margin, okay.
But I'm not sure.
Then we also need some padding.
Yeah.
For the number.
For the number. Yeah, no.
2 or something.
I think we might use the correct words.
But we'll come to that definitely next time. Padding, margin, difference, so that the blue one will now be, so the red grid should be gone. We only have the blue squares that we can then actually cut out here, so that it's an openable door.
Yeah.
And then revealing the hopefully matching QR code behind.
Nice.
And I guess this is enough content for the next session, which will be. Are we already on tomorrow?
Yeah, it's tomorrow.
I guess December is coming, so we need to hurry up. 1300 UTC, I believe we settled on, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that means we are on in 25 hours.
So I guess we'll see you soon. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And yeah, hope you're enjoying the snow as much as we do.
Because when looking at the window, it's already gone. I looked out the window tomorrow. That was on the neighbor's roof. Had just a little bit of sugar on top. Yeah, it's gone already. But that sounds about right at where I live. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back